right, let's talk about something we hear literally every day, computer voices. From your phone's navigation to your smart speaker, they're getting so good, so human-like, that it makes you wonder. And that's the big question we're diving into today.
So is text-to-speech actually AI? I mean, when your phone reads you a text, is that artificial intelligence in action? It kind of feels like it should be, doesn't it? The voice sounds, well, it sounds smart.
Okay, so the answer is, well, it's a sometimes yes, sometimes no kind of deal. It's not a straight up simple answer, and honestly, that's what makes this so interesting. It really all boils down to one key distinction.
And here it is. This is the big idea for our whole explainer. Think of it like this. Text-to-speech is the what. It's the goal, right? The task of turning words on a screen into sound. AI, on the other hand, is the how. It's the method. And it just so happens to be a really, really powerful method for getting that job done.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, let's take a look at the journey from those, classic robot voices to the super realistic ones we have now. It's a pretty wild evolution.
So how can you actually hear the difference? Well, you can give it the ears test. It's pretty simple. Just listen. Are there natural pauses? Is the pronunciation smooth? Does the rhythm feel right? And maybe, most importantly, does the emphasis actually match the meaning of the words? If you're nodding yes to these, you're almost certainly listening to an AI voice.
This chart really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the classic way of doing things. It's basically a bunch of rules and stitched together audio clips. It works, sure, but it can sound robotic, choppy. The analogy here is perfect. A GPS having a bad day. We've all been there. But on the other side, you've got modern AI. This isn't about stitching sounds. It's about neural networks and machine learning generating the voice. The result? It sounds natural, smooth, it sounds intentional. All right, so how do computers actually learn to talk? Let's get a little technical for a second and peek under the hood at how this all works.
So pretty much every text-to-speech system, whether it's old or new, follows these 4 basic steps. First, it has to process the text, expand abbreviations like turning doctor into doctor. Then it does some linguistic analysis, breaking words down into their tiny sound units. We call those phonemes. Step 3 is where it plans the rhythm, the pitch, the whole melody of the sentence. And finally, step 4, it creates the actual audio you hear.
But here's the key. This is where the AI really works its magic. See, those first 2 steps, they're pretty standard stuff, but steps 3 and 4, that's where the AI revolution happened. Figuring out the human-like timing and then actually generating that smooth, natural sound, that's the part that neural networks totally transformed. Which brings us to this word, prosody. Seriously, this concept is everything. It's the rhythm, the stress, the intonation. Basically, it's the music of how we talk. It is literally the difference between sounding like a real person and sounding like a monotone toaster. I love that analogy.
Okay, so who cares, right? Why does this difference between task and method even matter? Well, it matters a lot, actually. It affects everything from our professional workflows all the way to some pretty serious warnings about staying safe. So what separates a good TTS system from a bad one? It's not just about sounding human. It's got to be useful, right? The sound needs to be crisp and clear, not mushy. The prosody, that rhythm and emphasis, has to actually make sense. It needs to be stable, not suddenly changing its personality on you. It has to handle weird names and jargon without tripping up. And it has to be fast. You can't wait 5 seconds for a reply. It's all about reliable, predictable performance. And if you're someone who actually uses this tech, like a developer, you've got a big choice to make. Go with a cloud service or run it locally on your own machine. Cloud APIs from companies like Google or Amazon are awesome. They're reliable, they support tons of languages, but you pay for what you use. On the flip side, running it locally gives you total privacy, and it works offline. But the cost there is your own computer's power and the time it takes to set it all up. So you see, it's not just about picking a voice, it's about picking the right workflow for your project. But let's move beyond just business and tech for a second, because one of the most important, most powerful uses for text-to-speech is accessibility. We're talking about the very technology that powers screen readers for blind and low vision users. This is what opens up the internet and digital documents to millions of people. This isn't just a cool feature, it's an absolutely essential tool. Okay, but there's a dark side to all this incredible progress. The same AI that can create such helpful, realistic voices can also be used for something much more sinister:
cloning voices to impersonate people. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission is sounding the alarm on this. Scammers are now using this tech for those terrifying family emergency schemes to try and get money from you.
So what do? We have to change our habits. It's that simple. Here are a few really practical things you can do right now. If you get a frantic call from a loved one asking for money, hang up and verify it on a different channel. Send them a text, call them back on their known number. The idea of a family code word for real emergencies? Genius. And this is the big one. We have to start understanding that hearing a familiar voice is no longer 100% proof of who you're talking to. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's our new reality.
All right, let's pull all these threads together now. We've talked about the old versus the new, how it works under the hood, and why it all matters. So, what's the final answer?
Here it is. If you remember one thing from this, make it this. Text-to-speech is the task. It's the what. AI is just one of the methods for doing it. It's an incredibly powerful method, for sure, but it's not the only one. Always separate the goal from the tool used to achieve it.
So I'll leave you with a final thought. The next time you hear a synthetic voice, and you will, probably in the next hour, are you just going to hear the words? Or are you going to hear something more? Will you hear the difference between a simple stitched-together voice and a complex AI model? Will you hear the workflow behind it? I hope so. Thanks for tuning in.